I almost got a Junior Frontend Developer job. The interview was going great. I answered the theoretical questions confidently, communicated well, and everything seemed to be going in the right direction. But then came the live coding task. And that's where everything changed. In this video, I'll share my second real interview experience for a Junior Frontend Developer position, how I found the company, what questions they asked, what task I received, and why I ultimately didn't get the offer. If you're preparing for your first developer job, this video might help you avoid the same mistakes I made. A few days ago, I was browsing Ginny, looking for Junior Frontend Developer positions. I wasn't expecting anything special, just scrolling through different listings, checking requirements, and sending applications. Then I came across a position that immediately caught my attention. The requirements were actually quite reasonable. JavaScript, React, and TypeScript. That was it. No 3+ years of experience. No unrealistic expectations. Just a normal junior front-end position. So I decided to apply. And surprisingly, just a few hours later, I received a response from HR. That's how the whole process started. The HR manager contacted me and asked a very simple but important question. She noticed that I'm based in Kharkiv and asked whether I would be able to relocate to Kyiv if necessary. I responded that yes, I could relocate if needed. Then she shared more details about the project. It was an AI-based platform designed for IT companies. The idea was to automate technical support, infrastructure management, and security processes. The stack looked very interesting: React, Next.js, TypeScript, GraphQL, Node.js, and Supabase. To be honest, I wasn't familiar with GraphQL, but I knew everything else. I told her that I was familiar with the stack, except GraphQL, and that I was also using AI tools in my workflow. After that, technical interview with the developer. The meeting would include theoretical questions, live coding, and a Q&A session. The duration was up to 90 minutes. We scheduled the call for 2:30 p.m. the same day. And that's where things got interesting. This interview was actually different from my previous ones. First, I was interviewed by a female developer. It was my first time being interviewed by a woman, which made the experience a bit different and interesting. She was friendly, calm, and professional, which immediately made the conversation more comfortable. We started with a general introduction. She asked me to tell about myself, why I chose front-end development, what my hobbies were, and what projects I had worked on. I answered confidently. The conversation felt smooth. At this point, I started feeling that things were going well. Then we moved to the theoretical part. The questions were focused on JavaScript, React, TypeScript, and Next.js. And honestly, I answered most of them very well. I felt confident during this part of the interview. The communication was smooth, and I was able to explain concepts clearly. At that moment, I thought the interview was going really well. But then we moved to the practical part. The task itself looked simple at first. I was asked to implement the following logic. If a number is divisible by 3, return buzz. If a number is divisible by 5, return fizz. If divisible by both, return buzzfizz. If divisible by neither, return 0. At first, I thought this was easy. But during live coding, things became more stressful. I started thinking too much. At some moments, I checked documentation to clarify how to structure the code better. I also tried to make sure the solution looked clean and correct. But because of that, I lost time. I started overthinking, and instead of moving quickly toward a solution, I slowed down. The interviewer occasionally gave hints and guidance. But even with that, I wasn't able to complete the task confidently within the interview time. Despite the live coding difficulties, the interview ended on a positive note. We talked about the project. She explained that the project was still at an early stage and that they were currently building the team. I also asked questions about the code review process, team structure, and development workflow. The conversation was friendly, and honestly, I still felt hopeful. The next day, I received feedback. The developer mentioned that my theoretical knowledge was strong, my communication skills were good, and I left a positive impression. However, during live coding, it became clear that my practical coding skills were not strong enough yet. They also mentioned that I relied too much on documentation and needed more practice solving problems independently. They recommended practicing basic coding problems, solving algorithmic tasks, and improving English communication. And because of that, they decided not to move forward. To be honest, I partially disagree with the decision. I believe that strong theoretical knowledge and good communication skills are also very important for a junior developer. Yes, I didn't finish the task completely, but I was close. And I believe that with some time, I would have completed it successfully. However, I also understand their perspective. Live coding shows how you think in real time, and this is something I need to improve. This interview taught me an important lesson. Theory is important, but practice is everything. Now I'm focusing more on solving algorithmic problems, practicing JavaScript, and preparing for live coding interviews. And I'll continue sharing my journey. Because sooner or later, I will get my first junior front-end developer job. And when that happens, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching. If you're also preparing for your first developer job, don't give up. Keep learning. Keep practicing. And I'll see you in the next video.